Jenna's car tires crunched on the long gravel driveway as she pulled up to the looming Victorian house. It sat back from the road, surrounded by twisted oak trees whose bare branches reached menacingly toward the clouded sky. The old place had been a steal. The realtor said just needed some elbow grease to spruce it up. Jenna wasn't put off by its run-down appearance. In fact, part of her loved the idea of restoring such a piece of history to its former glory. As she made her way up the creaky steps to the front porch, the house seemed to lean inward, as if studying this new owner. Jenna shivered, though not from the cold, damp air. She couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that the house was watching her. Shaking off the thought, she fumbled with the ancient iron key and stepped over the threshold. Inside, the musty smell of decades greeted her, the air thick and stale. Faded wallpaper peeled in long strips, making her nose crinkle. "Well, this is certainly going to be a project," Jenna said with a wry laugh. Her voice echoed down the dark hallway, creaking floorboards seeming to answer back in a question. Jenna moved slowly toward the living room, running her fingers along the dusty bookshelves that lined the hallway. As her fingertips grazed the spines, she could have sworn she heard a faint whisper. She froze, holding her breath as she strained to listen. Just her mind playing tricks, she decided after a few seconds of silence. By nightfall, she had settled into the old house with a few belongings and takeout for dinner. As she sat on the sagging sofa, poking at a lukewarm burrito, the floorboards above her groaned. Her head whipped up, staring at the ceiling as another sound joined the chorus. Ever since Jenna moved into the old Victorian house, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. At first, it was just little things, doors creaking open by themselves, footsteps echoing in the night when no one was around. She chalked it up to the house settling, the quirks of living in a place with so much history. But then the whispers started. It did first, like the rustling of leaves outside her bedroom window. She tried ignoring them, but they grew louder and more insistent with each passing night. Jenna would lie awake, covers pulled tight, straining to make out the mutterings that seemed to emanate from the very walls around her. "Hello," she called out one night, her voice trembling. "Is someone there?" The whispering stopped abruptly, silence enveloping the room like a thick fog. Jenna's heart pounded in her chest as she fumbled for the light switch, and then it came. A guttural hiss, like the escape of foul air from uncounted years trapped inside the house.
"Get out!"
The raspy voices overlapped, some high and scratchy, others deep like rolling thunder. Jenna screamed and scrambled from her bed, fleeing the room as the whispering grew in a deafening crescendo of malice all around her. In the days that followed, the voices tormented her relentlessly, offering horrifying glimpses of the house's past, of families murdered in their beds, the crunch of bones underfoot, the reek of decay. Jenna couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The cacophony of whispering voices, clawing at her sanity. She knew she should leave, but some perverse curiosity made her stay. Maybe if she listened closer, she could finally understand what the voices wanted from her. One night, she lit candles in her bedroom and settled cross-legged on the floor, the maddening whispering swirling around her like a sinister cyclone. "I'm here," she said, her voice barely above a whisper itself. "I'm listening." The voices fell abruptly silent. Then a new sound, the slow rhythmic creaking of the house's ancient bones. The floorboards trembled under her, as something large seemed to uncurl from the very foundations. Jenna's blood turned to ice in her veins as the sprawling tendrils emerged, wriggling toward her in the flickering candlelight. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came. The whispers spoke as one, a unified chorus of billion-year conquest.
This house is ours.
What came out from the gaps between worlds in that endless moment, Jenna could never unsee. Her mind broke into a million pieces, the price for witnessing the eternal awaiters. In the weeks that followed, neighbors grew worried over the constant whispering that leaked from the house at all hours. The slithering voices carried through walls and windows, clawing at their ears, maddeningly insisting they heed the dreadful call. When the authorities finally broke down the door, they found Jenna in the upstairs bedroom, a disturbing scene of spiraling madness. She was hunched in the corner, fingernails worn down to stubs from furiously scratching bizarre symbols into the wooden floor. Her eyes were sunken back into hollow sockets, endless black pits that seemed to drink in all light and hope. Jenna's voice was completely gone, stolen. As the officers approached, her cracked lips parted, and a chorus of other whispers poured out a dissonant roar of billions conquered, beckoning to be let back in. The men went deaf from the onslaught, blood gushing from their ruptured eardrums as their sanity was shredded. Afterwards, the house was boarded up tight and deemed unlivable by any human beings. They still don't understand what ancient force awoke within those walls, twisting Jenna's mind into an unholy vessel. To this day, those who walk too close to the cursed place at night hear the frantic whispering, like the incessant scratching of countless insects under the foundations. But the voices call out, offering the oblivion of witnessing that which cannot be grasped, daring the curious to unlock the dreadful secret of the house on Blackridge Road.